Okay. Welcome all. I'm Rick Palea. So I lead the customer organization here at SmartSuite. And just to set the stage, Rupert and I have known each other for a bit of time. We met about 2 years ago at the No Code Summit in France, and we've kept in touch since then. This session will be a really tight alignment of what we are hearing over and over from our customers and have been for a year and change, and what Rupert's company, Docs Automator, can offer and offer really well, if I may say so. And that's creating documents formally but easily. And SmartSuite has some of those capabilities natively. Admittedly, yeah, a lot of work to do to improve the Docs Designer feature that is in SmartSuite, and it has not been a priority in terms of development with the other things that we're focused on. Then enter Rupert and I reconnecting maybe about 3 to 6 months ago. As we hear from our customers all the time, we need invoices created. We need contracts. We want to take the data that's in SmartSuite and generate something tangible, useful, actionable out of it. So we started conversations maybe about 6 months ago around alignment or integration, native integration between Docs Automator and SmartSuite. And fast forward, Rupert is a one-man show, but he's done a beautiful job of aligning to what is one of our tightest integrations now, I'm proud to say. So I won't do it justice. Rupert, love for you to share maybe just a little bit about your background and about what Docs Automator does.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rick. And hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Rupert. I'm the founder of Docs Automator. Docs Automator is a document automation tool, basically. That's what it does. You can automate your documents based on Google Docs templates with it. That was also what sort of got me into it, or at least I had this hypothesis that it would make a lot of sense to build a powerful document automation tool based on a powerful word processor. In this case, Google Docs, and Word is coming soon, because it basically gives you the option to create any layout and any design in an environment that you already know. And I've been automating documents before in my own companies and set things up for clients because I used to work as a no-code consultant and used HTML-based document automation tools, and always got some gray hair over that. So at some point I decided, you know what, I built my own solution and go out with it and see if people like it. And that was 2.5 years ago now. It's been a big success for me, and millions of documents have been automated at this point. There are a couple of integrations I'm super excited about. This really deep integration with SmartSuite, especially being a native action in SmartSuite automations, because that really unlocks a lot of use cases and makes the whole process really seamless of setting things up. And I hope I can convey that to you in this demo in the next minutes, or whatever, half an hour, 45 minutes that we have together.
Love that. And keep the questions coming. We'll try to answer as we go throughout. Yes, this is being recorded. You'll absolutely get a copy of it at the end here. Rupert will be walking through a few specific examples, or at least one to start. You'll realize there's many different routes we can go with this, but we're trying to paint the picture, the art of the possible of what can be done with. Maybe you're drinking a coffee, enjoying some inspiration here from Rupert at the bottom. Give us a really good indicator that you're liking what you're seeing. Yeah, so smiles, hearts, whatever you desire to drop in there, just keeps us engaged. All right. So with that, Rupert, take it away.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me share my screen here, and then we go on an example. As Rick already said, it's always kind of tricky to know like what to show and where to show and what use case basically to show. So I basically, with everything you're going to see now, you have to imagine that Docs Automator is use case agnostic. So basically you build a template, and that template can be, of course, anything you want, and it is sort of tailored to your specific use case. What I like to do is I like to pick a use case where I can just highlight some of the deeper features or more complex features that Docs Automator offers. Because on YouTube, you will find a demo that SmartSuite recorded, and I've also recorded a demo, and that sort of walks you through the basic features already. And in this demo, I would like to sort of show you more, maybe a couple of more involved features that Docs Automator has. But of course, if you say, whoa, whoa, this is way too fast, then please ask in the chat, and I'm happy to go deeper on anything that you're curious about. Also upfront, like if you check out the integration and something doesn't work the way you think it should work, please reach out to me. You always find, I'm here sort of in my Docs Automator account, you always find this chat box at the right lower corner, and I'm always, I try to be very available to any questions that there are, and I love working very closely with you, and usually also learn a lot doing that, and then I try to improve the product that way as well. So I highly encourage you to basically reach out to me via that chat feature. Yeah, let's get into it. This is how Docker looks like if you have set up an account. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, in Docs, I speak about automations, and automation is a data source, your template, and then you run basically, you send requests to it. And we do that now. We create a new automation. A bunch of integrations here. We select SmartSuite. I have my SmartSuite account already connected. You would just be prompted here. You go through a login process, pretty straightforward. And then we get to the template part. So basically now we need to set a Google Docs template. And you can see here in my browser that I have one open already, but I want to go to SmartSuite first to show you sort of the solution that we're working with. And I've picked this Sales CRM just because it basically gives us a data structure that I thought was good to work with, because we want to print reports from our sales CRM and include various data basically in that report. And you can see here that I've created a table called reports, and basically we're printing. Move this here. We're printing records. We're printing from these records, and in the end, we are basically generating PDFs in this field here. What we will see in a bit in the template is that we're including opportunities in those reports. So if I go here to opportunities, we have this long list of opportunities, and those we are going to include. So this shows a feature that's called line items in Docs Automator. Is something that is very, very tedious to set up usually, and Docs Automator makes that, at least I think it makes it very, very easy to do so. We're going to see how that works. Let's go into Google Docs. So you can basically create any template, and basically Docs Automator uses a placeholder logic and has basically three different placeholders: regular text placeholders, always these double curly brackets, opening and closing, that you can add anywhere in the document. Then there are image placeholders, which are basically like regular text placeholders, just with image underscore in front. And then we have line items. So line items always are declared in a table. Start with this line items, in this case 1. You can have any number of line item tables declared in your document. And then in that row, you basically define the variables in that line items table. That's about it. That's basically how you structure your documents and how you add dynamic data into your documents. There's one last one which you're going to see in the end, and I'm going to add this now here already, which is, let me this here, which is that there can be sections. So let me call this section 1, and sections can be closed like this again. And like that, we can basically show or hide sections in our documents. So this is basically a fourth variable type that exists in Docs Automator. But that's about it. Like that's all you need to know in terms of the syntax in order to automate your documents. Let's get into it. Let's continue here where we had to pick the Google Doc template that we've just seen. So we're going to choose template. And this is the Google Doc that we've seen. So I select this one, and then I save and continue. And then under 3, we get to the data mapping part. So that's where we tell Docs Automator, this is the SmartSuite solution we want to use. That's the fields we want to map, etc. So the workspace is Docs Automator, the solution. We go into SmartSuite again, it's called Sales CRM. Then we pick the table that we want to print from. In our case, that table is called reports. So that's what I select. These two we don't have to set because these are set in SmartSuite automations. So you can use the automation suite basically to define how documents are called and where documents, the generated PDF is going to be stored. And we see that in a second. And then we get to the data mapping part. On the left side, you see the variable from the Google Doc template. For instance, all the way on top, we have a variable called month because that's dynamic. We use the same template for every month. So we basically map our values to that. There's mapping fields with AI, which tries to match basically, tries to match what the variable is called and the fields inside of SmartSuite. And we just use the title here. We do a bit more like the report date, which is, oh, I should have called that differently, called formula. And this is assigned to, and you would just go on and basically map the data that you need. Let me also this title. All of these are the or placeholders basically except for line items. Line items we get to here. This is like a separate section because what we need to do is we need to set the linked field. The linked field for line items is where our related data lives. In our case, we're printing from this report records and we want to include opportunities. So we've seen in the template that this is like the opportunities breakdown where we declared the line items row. And this we find in Docs Automator here under line item table 1, where we, for the linked field, we select the link to opportunities. So in SmartSuite, we had the column here, which was called link to opportunities. And then we just basically find here the variables that we've declared inside of that line items table. And we map those to fields in our opportunities table because that's what we are reaching into those related opportunity records. And these are called pretty similarly, I think almost same. So this should work pretty nicely. So basically these fields, opportunity stage, owner, etc., you find here on the opportunities table. That's about it for now. We save this, and then we can always go here on the right side to search records. We only have one, this August report record. We select it, and then we create preview. And like this, we can basically, this doesn't count against your documents quota. So this basically allows you to generate previews of your documents until you're happy with the result, right? So this now came out. We had selected August report as being shown here on top. And then down here, we can see that all our data, basically our related data, has been printed in the line items table. And you could basically check here whether all the data you have mapped is actually here. Wait, I want to map total sales. Let me do that. This one's called total sales value sum. Before we go deep on a few features, I want to show you how to run request for this now from SmartSuite. Because we've set some things up. It's not perfect yet, right? We can always go back to it and tweak it. But let's see how we can now run requests from SmartSuite in order to generate not previews, but the actual documents and have them being populated into our SmartSuite record. So I go into SmartSuite and we find this in automations. I set this up earlier, so let me delete this. There we go. In automations, I create an automation. Let me call this create report. And this is when a button is clicked in reports. And how did I do that? Sorry, let me create a new button here. There we go. Execute automation. Okay, so we create a new one from here. There we go. So when this button is clicked, and of course this can be any trigger in SmartSuite. This can be a field changes, a record is created, any trigger you find here. And then you find the Docs Automator generate PDF action. If we go into this, we have to select a Docs Automator account. I already have mine added here. Basically, what you have to do is you have to add your Docs Automator API key. If I go on add new credentials here, I can show you how it works. You enter your API key, which you find if you go into your Docs Automator account, you find under settings and then API key. That's where you copy it, you add it, and that's it. In our case, in my case, my Docs Automator account is already connected. So I click on this, and this now loads my automations. So any automation in Docs Automator, I only have one now. And sorry, let me actually give this a better name. Let's call the sales reports, and then refresh. Any automation in Docs Automator that has SmartSuite added as a data source you'll be able to pull under automations here. And then we give it a title. So for the title, we just use the, I think it's called, the title field. That's basically it. This is enough that we need in order to send requests to Docs Automator, because the rest is set up inside of the automation inside of Docs Automator's interface. So which fields are mapped and all the other settings that we saw before. So here we're basically just passing this data. The final step here is to, because if we run this, the PDF will be generated, but we're not telling SmartSuite yet where to store that PDF basically. So for that we need an update record step where we say the files field report PDF gets use data from action generate PDF, the exported PDF. Basically, that's how we need to set it up. And now we've set up the entire flow, creating the PDF via Docs Automator, and then actually storing that PDF in a field in SmartSuite. Let's turn this on. Let's go out, and we should be able to. That's why we're not able to click this. This is paired. Let me reload. Maybe this gives us an idea. No. Okay, then let's do something else. Let's use a single select. We say generate. And let's, sorry for that. I'm not sure why the automation isn't triggering when the button is clicked, but we just change the trigger. Let me do this again. When the single select equals to generate, then we want to generate a PDF. Sales reports, the title, data records, port PDF, use that data. There we go. Let's turn this on. And now if we go to generate, we should see that that automation is now firing. And if it works, we see a PDF being added here. We can go into Docs Automator and go into the run history to basically always see what's running right now. I think inside of SmartSuite, we have a run history here as well. So this is actually running right now because we set that trigger. There we can also see that now Docs Automator received the request. Oops. And there we go. The report PDF is generated, and we see it's also generated without watermarks and has all the data that we mapped before. When you're in the process of testing things out, you have the option that we saw before where you can use the preview editor here on the right side. But you can also always set the entire automation into preview mode, which basically means that now even if you send requests from SmartSuite, they're going to come out as previews with watermarks. Because sometimes it's sort of, when you're in the mapping process, it makes sense to test here in the preview editor on the right side. But if you want to test this end-to-end inside of SmartSuite automations, then you don't want to consume your credits for that. And then you can turn the entire automation in preview mode. And basically you see the PDF being generated appear with watermarks then here as well. Shall we take some questions, or?
Let's do it.
Right. Let's do
Very
it.
simple. Yeah. Summarizing again here, we have a lot of valuable data in SmartSuite. Getting that data into a more presentable fashion is an important part of any organization. And then getting it actionable from there is the next step. That's ultimately what Rupert's done here in just a few short minutes. He's taken that information that you've collected in SmartSuite, he's put it into a nice sales summary or sales report. And then what do you do from it? How do you make it actionable? Does it need to go up by email? Does it need to be saved on file here? Putting it to work instead of just having it, live in a repository is ultimately where we see people leveraging this. All right. So some questions coming in. Well, we have questions about roadmap items. So I'll touch on some of the, or you can touch on some of those. But first,
Yeah.
can you just for some more inspiration, can you go back to your templates in Docs Automator just to give people a sense of other ways that this is used, like within Docs Automator, your template gallery, if you will?
Yeah, you find this on the website, and you basically see templates for the main areas where DocsAutomator is being used, which is reports. We've seen that just now. Invoices, agreements of any kind, certificates. We see actually quite a lot of certificates being generated with Docs Automator, contracts of any kind, and signatures are coming. Going back to the roadmap that was asked for. So currently, signatures or e-signing processes are not supported by Docs Automator yet, but that's going to come in the future. Exactly, but these are sort of the biggest areas, and you can always just go here and grab one of these templates and get started with it. And actually, in a couple of weeks, sort of the entire template picking process is also going to improve in the app. Currently, you sort of copy these templates into your Google Drive, and then you select the template from your Google Drive, and this is going to be like a completely integrated process. But yeah, that's basically, these are the main use cases that we see. You would find them here in the template gallery on the left side in these sections.
Love that. Yeah, contracts and invoices, we get requests for those all the time to be generated out of SmartSuite data. The certificates one is interesting because I see that it opening up a world in which, compliance, onboarding, offboarding, any sort of certifications that need to come out of that process more formally.
Yeah.
On value with that. Very good. Roadmap items, of course, everyone's asking about Office 365
Yeah.
integration and other plans. If you want to share just sort of loosely some of the things that you're either working on, what's next up, what you're considering developing, we'd love to hear more.
Yeah, we've so I think at the beginning I mentioned Word already, right? So yeah, Microsoft Word support is coming, and I mean that's been a topic from day one basically. And in the onboarding survey, I always ask, you already have existing templates that you would like to use, and 50-60% of users signing up have Word templates that they would like to use. So this is a huge item, and I am working on it. I can guarantee that it's coming this year. Maybe more early next year. But I'm very, very, very interested in getting that up and running soon. Then I talked about e-signing and e-signature workflows. It's like another one where basically this is like a missing piece to the platform right now. So yeah, I'm highly interested in adding that quickly. That's a big one. And then we've looked at now in the quick demo, we had looked at line items. And what comes up pretty often is the ability to add nested line items. So when line items have line items, basically in SmartSuite, this would mean an opportunity has related items again, right? Every opportunity has smaller items or so. And basically rendering those like that is also a big improvement that's going to come soon. Those are sort of big items on the list. There's a lot of smaller stuff, but those are the big ones, I'd say.
You'd mentioned another one that was interesting when we caught up last week around being able to take a PDF file and create a document out of that to be
That's true.
populated.
Yeah. Yeah. We see a lot of government forms that need to be automated, and currently they would need to be. You would need to rebuild them in Google Docs, but you already have the template. The template basically is the PDF that you just want to put placeholders on top of that PDF. So yeah, you're totally right. Like that's also a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, many of the other questions here are around uh, twofold. One, positioning of our doc designer, which I'll touch on again, and then the capabilities of, let's say, customization within Google Docs and what you can do there. So to answer the first, just succinctly, yes, SmartSuite does have Doc Designer. It's quite limited in what you can do. It can suffice when you're creating something simple and you need some formatting, document generation, creation. The major value proposition here is the ease of customization and the formality, which you can create just about anything within Google Docs and eventually Word and other formats. And some of these specific feature questions are related to, I'll just read off a couple. And I think the summary here is you have access to Google Docs' full suite of capabilities in creating these templates. Is that fair to say, Rupert?
Yes, with certain edge cases, but more or less. Yeah, more or less. I'd say 95% of what can be done can also be automated via Docs Automator. Yeah.
So we have some specific questions here then around capabilities, which I would presume most of these would be a yes. Yeah, John Burr's asking here, is it possible to create a table of contents that automatically displays sections and subsections along with page numbers, which would allow readers to click on an item and jump
Yeah.
between PDFs?
So Google Docs has table of contents. So that exists. Unfortunately, the updating the page numbers has to be done manually in the Google Doc. Like that is not something that's not something that I can target via the Google Docs API, but that is something that needs to be done in the front end, which means if the document is generated, those page numbers don't update automatically. You would have to go into the document once and basically hit the refresh button. But otherwise, yes, it's what sort of if you put headlines in place and basically just substitute those headings, and just substitute those headings like H1, H2, H3, then you would actually get a table of contents that's properly formatted.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
something I also want to show, and which is related to this, is that Docs Automator gives you the option to save the Google Doc. And you can pick a field here from your table. I've called this field Google Doc. And this basically gives you the option. It's something that's also unique about Docs Automator is that you can continue editing your documents. So you have your dynamic data being added, but you not only have a static PDF that is basically is what it is, you also get the Google Doc, which you can then continue editing or updating the table of contents in this case.
I love that. Peter's asking here about the sort of sizing of templates. Are templates available in, I don't know what this specifically refers to, but like A4, DIN or DIN A4 in the page
Yeah.
setup? Yeah.
So Google Docs gives you all these options. Unfortunately, these options are that's the list. Right? There isn't more than this, but A4 of course is part of it, and then of course all the standard US formats as well. I will say like there is a feature request adding support for Google Slides, which came sort of from certificate generation, but also has other areas where basically completely unique formats are needed. And which is possible in Google Slides. Google Slides basically allows you to pick any format. And yeah, at some point, the roadmap items that I mentioned first, sort of they come first, but then at some point, Google Slides is going to be developed as well as a template source.
Really interesting. Okay. So some ideas coming out of this. Chris Patterson saying, policy docs, SOPs, business continuity plans, run books. I think he's just starting to get excited about some of the capabilities there.
Yeah, that's also something I want to say about use cases is that there are these standard use cases, and you see them in the template library. But there's a tail end basically. Like let's say 50%. If I pull all the document all the automation titles that sort of give a clue of what types of documents are getting automated, sort of 50% of it is random and is going to be anything basically. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anything that can be automated in document format, you can do with Docs Automator.
I love that. Yeah, my mind's racing now to the AI capabilities that we just introduced through automations and how you could potentially generate long form information that can be slotted into, Docs Automator document generation out of that. Thought articles, more formal things that perhaps you would share with your customers, your clients, and so on. So we are just getting started. And then Gary's asking as well about how much control do we have over the final result? Can we adjust document margins, headers, footers, document type, in the way that it's outputted? And I think again, that's a yes, correct?
Yeah, headers and footers, of course, like that's part of Google Docs and is basically respected in the way you've set it up in the template. With output format, I'm like the output format either is PDF right now, or optionally you keep the Google Doc as well. That's about it for now. There is an option, of course, to export Google Docs as a docx, so as a Word file. I haven't added that yet because sometimes it leads, like basically destroys the formatting sometimes because there are limits to it. But yeah, any formatting you can apply to the Google Doc is going to be respected in the final output. Exactly.
Great. And I don't mean to put you on the spot with this question. We've done some conversions of customers that were Microsoft shops, and for the sake of the power of Docs Automator, we converted their documents, some large documents at that, into Google Doc templates to then leverage here. Do you have any converters that you've worked with closely that you may recommend for other formats into Google Doc? I see you run a Google search, there's tons out there, of course, but any that you've been familiar with?
So besides Google's native conversion tool, you mean, because I mean Google has you add a Word file in Google Drive and you can open it in Google Docs and then you can save it as a Google Doc. And actually for I don't want to say simple, but it depends on which basically elements are used in the Word file. For some cases, it works really well. For others, it doesn't work well at all. So it's always worth just testing it out and seeing sort of how it comes out.
Yeah.
But actually, I've just been using the native conversion tool that Google offers. Yeah.
Got it. And you find it to be pretty accurate?
Yeah, it depends on the if it's a simple Word file, like simple in the way that in the structuring of it, then it's pretty accurate. Yeah, then it's definitely a very good starting point and definitely much better than rebuilding a template from scratch.
Okay. Very good. Lots of thumbs up in here for the Office 365 integration. So I know you have enough fuel to burn that fire. And then a few side questions here that we'll answer separately or offline. But
Yeah.
folks, any other questions while we have Rupert here? We never like to burn time and go the full hour. I think we've covered a lot of ground here in 35 or so minutes. Is there anything else? Any specifics? You can reach out to Rupert and myself offline as well, of course. Okay. We'll end it with that slow little clap emoji that just rolled up from the bottom. So Rupert, thank you again. And thank you always for sharing this time with us and ideating around document generation.
Thank you. I'm super excited about this integration. And yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity here. And as I said before, like if you got questions, you know where to find me. Right lower corner in the app.
That's it. All right. Thanks all for sharing the time with us today, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Bye bye. Thank you.
All right. Make it a good one. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.